Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Zerg versus Terran. We're in the bottom right, playing in red. We have a Terran player I don't really get to introduce all too often. I honestly don't know whether or not he's playing a ton of StarCraft or if he's just silently practicing by himself. I have none other than the honor to introduce to you Bunny. A player who oftentimes really is one of the very best Terrans on the planet, but then he just sort of disappears. Sometimes for like a half year on end. I don't really know. He doesn't participate in a whole lot of tournaments. Then he pops up and he suddenly dominates. So either I guess today we'll find out whether or not he's super rusty or if he's been figuring out how to play this matchup by himself. His opponent in the meantime, a Zerg player that I have been incredibly impressed by lately. Playing in blue with the Zerg pieces, we have Ragnarok. Also, of course, known by the name of SHIN. SHIN has been having a grand old time lately, man. He's been going for very quick lair builds. So, interestingly enough, he leaves like 2 workers in gas, or sometimes even all 3, for basically the entire duration of it. And he just gets a super late third and a really fast lair. And while I think, theoretically speaking, it's suboptimal and not really the way to play Zerg, we have seen time and time again lately that it may just very well be the way that you're supposed to be approaching this matchup. A lot of the European Zergs seem to be struggling against Terran quite a lot right now. They're really focused on building up their economies early on, and they're trying to optimize the droning. And then on the Korean end of things, especially Ragnarok and then also Rogue lately have been going super quick lairs and playing 2-base builds. It really has shifted this matchup a bunch, though, because now suddenly it's Terrans getting a 3rd base up significantly before the Zerg does, and suddenly it is the Zerg player forced to do that early game harassment. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. It's going to be a double gas start right over here for Bunny, though, so he will have something up his sleeve, I'm sure. Command Center is building on the low ground, and of course he will be able to make that Reaper. This is a CC first, so a faster Command Center than what you would ordinarily see. The norm for Terran is to build the barracks first and then go into the command center. Ragnarok is going to find out about this immediately. That's where the Overlord does come in. We are, by the way, on one of the brand new maps. So this particular series was played a few days ago during the RSL. And they are running a new map pool. So this map is called Necropolis. Not yet, as of me casting this, at the very least, an official StarCraft 2 ladder map. But the RSL have been, they've been running their own ladder map pools, or their own tournament map pools, rather, for a while already. And this time around, we have some of the current ladder maps, some of the previous Team Liquid map contest finalists that never turned into ladder maps, and then also from the brand new TOMC, the brand new Team Liquid map contest. We also have a bunch of maps in the current map pool from that. So it's a very interesting mix. This one, Necropolis specifically, is brand new. So we'll find out exactly how it plays out. Now, I was just mentioning that Ragnarok has been a big fan of leaving drones in gas and then delaying the 3rd hatch. I'm guessing because he saw that the opponent went for such a quick command center, he's decided to, just completely ignore what I mentioned. And he decided to put all the drones out of gas and go for a super fast 3rd base instead. In the meantime, Bunny has also decided to fire up a 3rd CC of his own. So this is a little bit more old school in a way. I mean, this is the way that we've been seeing StarCraft 2 get played in this matchup for many years now, but lately we've been seeing, well, really both of the races, but especially Zerg, mix it up quite a bit. This is the approach that we've been seeing more and more, I guess, over like the last 5 years, but it's not really the style that's been predominant in 2026. Command Center, though, is going to finish up nice and soon. Hellion Banshee here for Bunny. Really quite ordinary, other than the Command Center first style. Command Center first is just a little bit risky. That Overlord, by the way, the one that scouted the natural, has taken the very long track all the way around. And it is indeed going to now scout the double tech lab follow-up. So this is very indicative of some sort of marine-based mid-game here. He's obviously looking to see if he can find any additional factories or if he can get confirmation with like engineering base or something along those lines. But really, when you see the green light on in a tech lab that is attached to a barracks, it's pretty much always going to be some sort of infantry-based mid-game. Hellions, in the meantime, though, do find a nice little stack of workers. Although it seems... okay. It seems that some of those units may have ended up dying. Just a single Hellion, though, for now. Extra gas is added on the net. And this is apparently the moment that we are going to now complete the wall off in the natural expansion with double engineering bay. So really a solid macro start here for both players. 5 minutes in, we've had a little bit of aggression, but really both of these players are heavily focusing on just building up their economies. And it's all just coming back, I think at the very least, it could all be traced back to Bunny getting a CC first. Probably not the best build order, though, if you're a ladder hero, because the odds of the Zerg player just opening up with anything pool first, well, they're pretty big on the ladder. Not super popular at the pro level, although this will be something that Ragnarok is certainly going to keep in mind for the remainder of this particular series. Wouldn't be surprised if Bunny decides to go for the more conventional route in the next game. Either way, Hydra Den here already. Weirdly enough, though, and this is a bit funky, we do not have a Baneling Nest. We do not have a Evo Chamber. This is just straight lair. Oh, that's a dead Banshee, I think. Yeah. Is this straight lair into straight Hydra Den. Double Evo Chambers now in the meantime over at the third. Interesting. Normally the real mess, right, that you run into as a Zerg player when you go for this relatively delayed lair is the timing of Baneling speed. So one of the most modern solutions that we've seen is Zerg players skipping out on Banelings against the top tier Terrans because their micro is too good and speed Banes just don't seem to cut it. And they've been going instead into like a infestation pit really early on and they rush out a couple infestors. But this is now effectively, at least for the foreseeable future, just like pure Ling with a bunch of Hydras. I mean, there will be Banelings eventually, but it's interesting, right? To really delay this for a while. Nice catch over here as well in the middle of the map. Ragnarok finding Bunny sleeping. And what do you do when you find a Bunny sleeping? You surround it. Apparently. More sleeping units. Taking little naps over at the watchtower. Very brave indeed. So, by the way, double Hydra upgrades as well. So it's very common to open up like this, but then go +1 melee instead of +1 missile. Already, though, Bunny is finishing up the final 3 Rexes. This is going to bring the grand total up to 8. Normally, that will be the limit that Terran players will go for. Every once in a while, you'll see Terrans go up to 11, but that's quite rare. Not really until the super-duper late game. And not really actually in 2026 anymore. I don't remember the last time I've seen it. So 8 Rex is usually where Terran players will cut it. Yeah, I think this is all fine for Ragnarok, even though like the Baneling speed is quite late. He's clearly read this correctly, and he's realized now that Bunny is not really planning on being all too aggressive. By the way, even though we haven't seen Bunny play in all too many tournaments lately, that doesn't mean that Ragnarok has no experience against him. There's a really good chance that they have, for example, faced off against each other in the ladder. And that, yeah, it will be something that Ragnarok will be keeping in the back of his mind. Like, he's not just playing completely blind here. But there certainly are way more replays of Ragnarok out there that Bunny could have been studying than there are the other way around. So we're just pumping out a silly number of Marines now. There's no second factory, and there's no 4th command center either. So, for all intents and purposes, Bunny here is going for almost like an all-in. I mean, you can't transition away from it, but this is something that needs to deal damage. And that is what Ragnarok has been preparing his Baneling speed for. He needed to have Baneling speed done by the time that this attack moves across. He's already sending in a run by 2. Quite like it. Looks like at the very least the siege tank will end up going down, or, well, at least a bit of a distraction. There's no hive or anything like that, right? So we're not going to see blinding clouds. But Bunny now is carving a path really deep onto creep. And what I'm a little bit afraid of is this entire Terran army just getting surrounded and demolished. This is a large group of Hydraling Bane, and Ragnarok right now is setting up a clump either to, like, yeah, get a couple of the reinforcing Terran troops or to just surround all of the tanks. Getting the reinforcements is big, although that's a lot of reinforcements too, man. Bunny is going to be able to max out pretty soon. 2-2 is on the horizon as well. Don't forget about it. It's a big power spike. Ragnarok committing yet again to a counterattack. It's funny, this is not a build we really see from like Clem or Maru or any of the other top dog Terrans, really. Like a triple command center Adrax. Here we go. He decides to pull the trigger. Is there enough Zerg, though? There's a lot of banelings in the front, but the marine count is still massive. Even though we do get a bit of counterattack damage done, too. Say goodbye to the hatchery, at least if he decides to target it down. There we go. And you know what? These Evo chambers are looking really juicy. Good micro here as well on the marines. Honestly, getting the hatchery is nice, but getting the Evo chambers would be even bigger. +1 melee. It seems like it will finish. Oh my god, it got denied! No way! Oh my lord, he actually just denied both of them. That's crazy. That was literally down to like single, like not even single digits. It was like 0.2, I think, is what I saw. On the right side of the screen, the +1 melee there did not finish up for Ragnarok. And that is big. +2 armor is also very significant, but that now really is gonna effectively put Ragnarok on the back foot for like the next 5 minutes. I think it may very well be the reason why Bunny is gonna double down here for a while longer. He still has not fired up a 4th base. So many banelings available, but now the creep, of course, has receded. Hatchery over here on the right side has also been found, and even though there's no mining happening there, that's gonna be a free kill. Okay, well, apparently with more and more of those links from the other side of the map running back home. Yeah, Ragnarok is gonna be able to shove these units away, but there's already a new army that has moved towards the left side of the map. Bunny, in the meantime, starting up 3-3. Supply-wise, he's still not in the best of spots. There's only a handful of banelings. There's a handful of banelings. Okay, he did decide to double down there for a moment, and he does pay the price because of it. Scan is going to reveal a couple more creep tumors here. That's nice and all. But a slight overextension there for Bunny, who now does decide to go into a 4th command center eventually. That will likely give Ragnarok a little bit of time to breathe. And what's kind of ironic, right, is that Bunny killed 2 bases. He did kill a round of drones as well, but economically, he's still behind. Mules are real good, and they can help catch up, but even though he's been taking phenomenal fights, look at the resources lost, Ragnarok is still just getting so much income, and I think that's probably the reason why these 8-Rex all-ins, while very popular on the European ladder in particular, these 8-Rex all-ins have kind of fallen out of favor a bit at the pro level, because the top-level Zergs have just got so much economy so early on. Now we have some Vipers added in too. These are big power spikes for Zerg, man. Like getting the Hive done, adding in some Vipers. Now we're going Adrenal Glands as well. That's 40% attack speed for those links. New Evo chamber apparently was made in the main base. I wouldn't mind seeing the second Evo maybe start up the +1 melee research. Yep, there he goes. He does fire it up indeed. Important. Now though, 3-3 is on the horizon. Perfect time to strike though for Ragnarok. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know how close those upgrades are, but the blinding clouds are really juicy. Okay, he was thinking about parabombing, decided to just go for a abduction there on one of the medevacts. And that is Ragnarok shoving these units away. Vipers really are the key to shutting this sort of aggression down. Oh, is he gonna get it? Is he gonna get it? Is he gonna get it? Wow, he will get it. At the cost of many of the Marines, though. I don't know if the lads knew that they were on a one-way trip, but my god. Is Bunny going deep? Now he's hunting Vipers as well. More and more Marines will die. And it looks like quite literally every single one of those medevacs is gonna go home empty-handed. Okay, well, hey, Jimmy. Sorry, man. There were like 20 planes, but there was no room for you. Somehow Jimmy lives. Look at this absolute legend. Send out to scout and taking the job really seriously. Man, Bunny has decided to donate a bunch of his Marines now. Maybe he felt guilty for having such phenomenal effective traits that he decided to donate a little bit. Doing a little bit of charity work here at the end of the Marine aggression. This is odd. Just a random group of Marines yet again. Huge counterattack in the meantime, though, for Ragnarok, who will now be able to destroy that 4th command center. And suddenly, SHIN is fully back in this game. It's messy. It's kind of dirty. Ooh, I don't know. Do we dash forward here? Wait a second. That was not the dash we should have been doing. These are fully upgraded Marines, man. And this is the misread here from Ragnarok. He's very used to this situation being pretty much even. Nice snipe there on the Viper. Pretty much even as far as the upgrades go. But Ragnarok obviously had those upgrades tonight. I don't know why he decided to plant those evo chambers at the third base anyways. He decided to take that engagement and then realized, wait a second, nope. In this kind of situation, I can't actually take those engagements at all. Okay. So this has now knocked Bunny back to the Stone Age, who has decided to become a nomadic Terran. Yeah. Did you guys know that bunnies are a nomadic species? They trek around, man. They follow the good weather. They follow the minerals. They can smell the minerals, and that's how they create a trail. Zergling counterattack yet again. Massive amount of Terran, though, on the left side of the map, too. Okay, yeah. That's another base that is going to get destroyed. Even though Ragnarok has had more workers for a while, his eco is not quite optimal. This is now turning into a ridiculously scrappy game, by the way. Like, Bunny is moving around like he owns the place and that like he's at a very significant lead, but I'm not entirely sure if that's really the case. These bases are so exposed now. I wouldn't mind even seeing a couple bunkers or something going down. There's still, of course, Vipers out, right? And abductions on Liberators, blinding clouds on siege tanks. There we go. Ooh, you do have to be sharp with your unit micro. But yeah, Vipers are just phenomenal here. Just so powerful. Medevacs are expensive. In a situation like this, when Terran really is strapped for cash, those, yeah, 100 units, they do add up pretty quickly. Of course, though, we can also fly the natural orbital command around. I guess you can send it over here or maybe to the base up north. It's one of the advantages for Terran that we really don't see come into play very often. But this is now turning into a super scrappy, never-ending mid-game. At the very least for the Terran. Like, what you really would like to have as Terran here is a transition to, at the very least, Marauders. You want to go into, like, Ghosts, Liberators, all the rest of it. But for all of those things to really come into effect, especially Ghosts and Liberators, you really do need 4 bases. Ragnarok knows it, so he's just trying to survive. I would really like to see Zerg research Burrow. I think Burrow on some of those chokes here is really handy, especially when you know that Terran doesn't have a lot of scans. Keep in mind, though, just like the upgrades previously, right? Ragnarok may be making some assumptions. Normally at this stage in the game, Terran will have so many orbital commands available that they can effectively scan everywhere they go, but at this point, Bunny is likely going to be using a lot of his energy too. I would imagine, at least. He's not currently got any mining, but I would imagine he's going to be using at least some of it on mule mining. The creep, though, has been reduced all the way back to pretty much the hatcheries themselves. And this base, there's no way that Rag is going to be able to hold on to it. I don't believe it. Look at this siege tank clump. I mean, if he decides to engage, well, he's going to try. We need Vipers, though. There come the Vipers. Ah, maybe. Maybe it's doable. We do have a secondary army, too, on the left. There go the blinding clouds. My God, I take it all back. Those blinding clouds are so juicy. Woo. I wouldn't mind seeing a few parasitic bombs go down as well onto the medevacs. Lurker den. Yeah, even Lairtag lurkers, honestly, are really powerful. This hatchery is also one sneeze away from death. Bunny wants to go sneeze on it. Hot. 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 What? Okay, can't even finish my joke. This is, Vipers! Vipers! Ah! Okay. For some reason, he didn't want to kill the hatch. Good guy, Bunny. Siege tank up on the high ground. Okay, we'll get blasted yet again. Blinding cloud or not. How many medevacs have died this game, man? 20 medevacs and 20 siege tanks. Okay. So, the old natural, where are we gonna send it? Where do we go? I honestly don't really know what the best approach is. So, Ragnarok really benefits from Terran just chilling for a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing him take his gases, but really just getting like 5 lurkers out? Oh, I feel like Banelings is kind of risky. Just getting a bunch of lurkers out with seismic spines? What in the world is Bunny going to be able to do against it? He really, though, wants to move in. Oh, blinding cloud. Orbital command here. That's the old main base in a world of trouble. So many SCVs are dying. Now the Zerglings are getting their wraparound as well. Say goodbye to most of this Terran army. In the meantime, though, the other half that is not currently present is going to town onto another Zerg base, and it will force the cancel on another hatch. Bunny is thinking about defending his own natural expansion. This siege tank, though, can get some really juicy hits in. A lot of low HP Hydralisks. Hydralisks, of course, are extremely, well, high in damage per second, but very, very low in HP. Now the third base ended up going down, too. The alternative natural, though, the final command center is mining over here on the right side. Ragnarok doesn't see it. He needs to go check, really. Like, that is a freebie of a base. Oh, he doesn't check. He's gonna send his army home right now. He, by the way, lost most of his own bases, too. Really, the only mining that Rag currently has is these skinny mineral fields over here on the right. Dude, no way. Ragnarok, you need to go check. Your mineral field's gone, like Diva said. Oh my god, wait a second. Go! Go! Bunny doesn't know it? Oh, okay. But he just may have escaped death. There's, however, hunters, though, very close by. They may not be the Brood War hunter killers, but these Hydras will still pack deal a lot of damage. They will still pack a punch. Ragnarok, though, doesn't have a lot of units, so he doesn't really want to risk it. He was hoping to maybe intercept the Medivacs, but the Medivacs, they do indeed get routed all the way to the right side. And okay. He's been put right now onto the watchtower as Bunny decides to land the CC a little bit further south. This game is crazy. Ragnarok is desperately trying to re-establish a mineral line that he's tried mining like 4 times already. Now we're at a stage in the game where neither player really wants to move and push out too far. I guess Medivacs can kind of do some work, but you never really know exactly how many Vipers there are. Likewise here, Ragnarok doesn't really want to move too far out because he doesn't really know exactly how many siege tanks there are. Seismic Spine's coming up. It's a really expensive upgrade, by the way, with this many, this much mining. I mean, he smashed his piggy bank, and he can currently afford a 1 lurker. I mean, 1 lurker, though, is a hell of a lot better than a Hydralisk now. Siege tanks joining in. Zergling run-by may very well be attempted. There is a Blinding Cloud or 2 available. Lurker is gonna get burrowed. Oh, here we go. He decides to stim. That's a massive stim at this point in the game. Can we scan? He can't scan. He doesn't have scan energy available to see the lurker. Just 1 lurker is massive, but some of the Terran units are still within range of the hatch. And this really is the final lifeline here of the Zerg economy. Blinding Cloud does go down. Viper, however, gets sniped. Siege tank over here on the left, still within range of the hatch. And now, yep, he will be able to get the final hits in. Hydra's dash forward. Zergling run by in the meantime on the other side of the map has been cleaned out. Is Bunny still doing this? There's no way. GG. And that will take us to a great map with a terrible name. That will take us to Missing You Today. Aww. Aww. Such a cute map maker. Aww. Look, I think Ragnarok is really regretting not making literally 2 or 3 more lurkers, right? He did that Baneling run by over on the left side of the map when he was already really scraping the bottom of the barrel. He made like 22 Banes. I think he should have made like 18 Banes and, and have like 1 or 2 more lurkers. It would have been, I think it would have been a win. Hindsight, of course, is 2020. But we invested all of those resources into that tech. Still not a comfortable window for Bunny. Like, and he knows it, right? Like, he knows that he has no control, for example, over where the opponent positions the evolution chambers. Like, he knows he got lucky when he went for that push across the map. He went to kill the hatchery, and then he accidentally got double upgrades too. One thing to note, of course, is that Terran can't see how far along those upgrades are. So he doesn't know how close he was or how close he wasn't to sniping the research. So Bunny kind of got handed the mid game on a silver platter in a way, but then he still had to fight for it. I think Ragnarok also got a little bit overconfident. So even though the scoreboard is currently 1-0 in favor of the Terran, I didn't hate that game for Ragnarok. And I think Really, very few things needed to shift for that particular game to be in favor of the Zerg. Credit, though, where credit is due. Buddy did a really nice job constantly putting the pressure on. Denying the creep is a big deal, too. Like, you could see a Ragnarok moving around the map on his side when he saw the drops coming in, but he couldn't really see them come in early because the creep was receded so far, and the overlords were all sniped. There weren't a ton of spotter units out. But he also did an excellent job really defending his mineral lines. Up until the very end game, he didn't really lose a whole lot. So... Oh, also, of course, that hidden base over on the right side of the map. Ragnarok could have very easily killed all the SCVs there if he would have known that Bunny had lifted off the command center and sent the entire mineral line there too. So there were so many things. I mean, ultimately, that's StarCraft, right? Like, that's any strategy game for you. But there were so many things that could have gone differently in that game, and it would have really drastically changed the outcome. So let's see what we can do on Missing You today. One drone left in gas. So even though SHIN has been going for a lot of quick lairs and all that lately, apparently we're not really aiming for it this time around either. Yet again, we have a drone moving on over to build up a really quick third hedge. The third command center, though, already started up here for Bunny, who's following this up with a double barracks. Okay. So that means no benchies. No medevacs either until a little while later, I'm sure. This is a quick Stimpeg build. So Stim will be done at like 510 or so, which keeps you safe against most Roach counterattacks as a Terran player. But it also really does create like way less pressure on the side of the Zerg. So we are going to see some Hellions roam the map, but there will probably be a little switcheroo in a moment where this barracks is going to be getting the reactor here, and we're going to see the Marines come out. So even though this is not super easy for the Zerg player to scout, unless they YOLO in an Overlord, it's still going to be a lot less pressure on the side of the Zerg. Like, for example, you don't really need to go for, like, say, Spore Crawlers now as the Zerg, right? Like, normally Zergs will make them at, like, 530 or so. You really don't need them. Maybe 530 is actually a little late. Yeah, maybe 430 is a little bit more reasonable. Anyhow, you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, as soon as Ragnarok sees that this is what we are dealing with in the early game, as soon as he sees, for example, the second barracks, or really just the lack of a fifth and a sixth Hellion, he's going to be able to start thinking about potentially cutting those additional structures. He now did see a bunch of additional Marines. Roach Warren starts up. Okay. So I think he just canceled what must have been an Evo chamber, or something along those lines. And we're going Roach Warren here together with a lair instead. Lair building over at the third base. It's always a little bit curious, right? To see the lair start up in, well, not the main base. I honestly don't hate it, though. I actually think it's quite smart. Like, there's technically, if you think about it, right? Like, what's the advantage to building your lair in the main base? I guess it's technically, like, the safest place for the lair to be. But if Ragnarok loses the third, there's about 0% chance he can continue playing the game regardless, right? I mean, there are some instances where I guess the third base is important. I kind of like starting up the lair and the hive in the natural. Pretty difficult to win a game where you do not have a natural expansion. And lair does add, like the hive as well, it does add additional sustain to the structure itself. You get some additional health. So building it in the main base actually kind of sounds like the worst place to put it. Anyhow, third base is a little curious. I think the natural is probably the best. 12 creep tumors currently marching around the map, though. And this is one of the real strengths when you know that your opponent doesn't have a ton of Hellions available. I actually think the natural is probably slightly safer. Because Terran will go, as we have a little Zergling run by here. Terran will go for a drop to the main base, for example, or whatever. Fourth hatchery, though, is going to get denied too, it seems. Oh, he instantly rebuilds it. Oh, what? No way, dude. He just killed the hatch. Ragnarok canceled, rebuilt, kind of assumed the opponent was going to lift off and then lost the base anyways. He is going to get some Marines, though, for his troubles. Man, would I not want to be a Marine in Bunny's army. It just doesn't seem like a very safe place to be. This man is throwing away his troops. Like they're worth nothing. +1/+1 coming up. 4th command center, right smack dead under the vision of Otto. The watchful eye of Otto the Overlord. Roach counterattack. Roach speed, Lyle. Lyle reconstitution now done. Ooh, we're doing a patrol attack. Curious. Some players actually like to attack move with patrol, which I've always thought was kind of weird. Okay, he's going to do a little bit of move commanding here too. +1 ground carapace is not yet finished, but he's apparently seen an opportunity. Honestly, I don't like this though too much. I think we should have waited for the +1 armor. Now the upgrade is finished. Siege tanks are all going to fall. Okay. And I guess he wanted to get this done before Terran properly turtled up this area. Still? Yeah, it's very finicky, man. These are such tight margins here. But he does manage to snipe those Ravagers before they finish morphing in. Still, though, 12 SCVs in total end up going down. And that's the end, I think, of this Ravager squad, man. Ravagers are real expensive. Yeah. So, 12 SCVs, yes, but also 9 Roaches and 5 Ravagers. 42 Marines? Or Zorklings, rather. We did see, I guess, the tanks also full. As the dust settles, I still prefer this position here for the Zerg. Mostly because of the worker count. The gas loss is significant, though, on the side of Rag. 4th command center now done way sooner than in the previous game. But I do feel like Ragnarok is moving around the map maybe a little bit too confidently. Maybe the title of the map is throwing him off, you know? Like he's thinking about missing her today and it's... Yeah, I guess it happens. Nice scan over here yet again. Bunny really hates creep. He's a very organized Terran, clearly. Gotta get rid of the creep. Gotta make sure everything is nice and clean. 2nd factory, by the way, after the 4th command center. That's not the norm. Most of the time, Terrans will go for a 2nd factory before even starting up the 4th command center. So this is going to slow down the siege tank production quite a bit. And that, of course, combined with the siege tank losses from earlier, it's going to make this particular push here from Ragnarok extremely difficult to hold. The Marine count, though, is big. This ramp is kind of tight. Still, though, the Roaches do get up to the high ground. 2-2 not yet done for the Terran. Siege tanks do get biled down, but it's all a little slow going. Mostly now the Ravagers sustain themselves. Ragnarok has seen the base over here at the bottom, but now, yeah, the Marines are going to be able to go to town. SCVs get pulled as well. +2 armor is done yet again. Ragnarok pushing before upgrades finished up. Now Terran, though, is on the horizon with their own 2-2 research. Man, these guys, they love a bloodbath. So many dead units in this game. Ay. Yet again, though, it's a different setup, but the outcome is similar. Yet again, Ragnarok loses pretty much his entire army, but he does kill SCVs for his troubles. And Bunny's eco is just not really up to par compared to that of the Zerg. 2,500 gas lost. That's crazy. Because of all the Marine losses, so we have 80 dead Marines in this game, and 31 SCVs too. Those are all 50 minerals each. Yeah, the mineral losses are mostly the same, but the gas is a big difference. If we have a look at the income over time, yeah, Ragnarok is going to be able to skyrocket ahead in this department. Bunny, of course, does have 4 command centers done, but he's not really prioritizing SCV production at all. He's prioritizing Marines and siege tanks first, and then eventually we'll get back to a little bit of Marine or SCV production, I'm sure. But for now, that's not what we're aiming for. He's just trying to stay alive. You can tell, though, why normally there's a 2nd factory before the 4th CC, right? You just want to get the tank numbers up because it creates a lot more stability. Okay. Never give up. Never retreat. Never surrender. That seems to be the strategy that we have so far in this game. We want to have a full reset of the units, or we don't fight at all. Backing up? Puh, we don't do that. Yeah, moving up the ramp there I think would have been GG for Ragnarok. I don't think you can really push into that line of tanks. He's going into Baneling Nest right now, though. +1 melee as well coming up. This is a lateral step, right? Like, rather than going into a hive, which he does right now, I wouldn't have minded seeing him go, like, Hydra Den into, like, Lurker Den or something along those lines. Like, a lateral step in tech into Banelings. It's not bad, but it is time-consuming, right? And time really is not something that Ragnarok has a ton of. 3-3 in the meantime starts up for the men over here with guns. It's gonna be a lot of dead Zerglings. It's gonna be a lot of dead Zerglings. As soon as the Roaches and the Ravagers show up, I guess we're gonna have to see a bit of a split. There's a bunch of Marines here too that really wanted to die. Fair enough. The Spellcasters really were the key in the previous game. We had Vipers mostly. Now we're gonna get Infestors. Likewise though, Fungal Growth here, of course. Just like Blinding Clouds, extremely good. Oof, man. Bunny loves trading out units. He made those Marines to go out and fight. All right, we didn't get him to like look around the command center and be pretty. Like that's not why we built those units. he's just spending them. They're just a resource in his army. Look, he may not be a very popular general, but he's effective. Ultra Cavern coming up here for Ragnarok now. So we're trying to make the switch on over to Ultraling Bane. Siege tank count is high, though. A lot of Banelings here get sniped as well. These are expensive units. 1919 do get returned here to Ragnarok, but he needs to get some more units out. Bunny now creating a chokehold on this 12 o'clock expansion. We do have a little bit of a roach counterattack, but not a whole lot going on. Hatchery here indeed does get denied. More Banelings over here. Okay. Will at least be gunned down for a moment, but they do manage to roll away. And now we have a bit of a standoff. He unsieges all the tanks? You're a braver player than I am, Bunny. My god, Ragnarok had the perfect opportunity to run in, but he didn't have vision. Siege tanks blast that Infestor to death. Okay, this is apparently the moment where we do decide to pull the trigger. This time around, though, the tanks are all sieged up. There's really not that many Marines available anymore because they've all been frivolously thrown away. Banelings get traded out. They don't really achieve that much. But his entire Terran army indeed disappears. Okay, we have +3 armor. Adrenal Glands. We've got ourselves chitinous plating, +2 melee, Vipers, Ultralisks. Ragnarok is preparing for a proper late game. In the meantime, Bunny is making some more production, but there's no Ghost Academy. We don't have a second starport. We are just going into more men with guns. And you know what? He just took a brilliant opportunity yet again. Ragnarok may have been on fire over these last bunch of months, but Bunny really is putting on a really good show. And this is so much more aggressive than what we normally see from Terran. Hatchery up north gets denied yet again. Planetary finishes up over here. And while 10 SCVs die, this does now secure the 5th base. Ragnarok was on 4. Like, we have 5 base Terran versus 4 base Zerg. Blinding Clouds, though, here are good. Ultralisks are now going to be able to tank a lot of the damage. In a very strange way, it is now the Terran player Zerging the Zerg, right? Like, he is the one who's just throwing away the cheap units so he can trade them out cost effectively. This is kind of nuts. Just doing a little bit of marching over here in the middle of the map. SCV count finally climbing up. Can't believe we've been sitting on such a low worker count this entire time through. Yeah, 41 SCVs have died. He's only really been adding up to like 3 base economy at most. Yet again, though, the creep spread, at least on like the main attack paths, has been denied over and over and over again. And Ragnarok, I mean, this was an early GG. He sees where this game is headed. He knows he can't secure another base. He knows he's an expansion behind the Terran, so he decides to tap out. That's kind of nuts. I don't even remember the last time I've seen a bunny game. But to be able to take down somebody like Ragnarok in a very interesting fashion by effectively just making a silly number of Terran units and just sending them out to die, it's clearly an effective strat. He wins this series 2-0 over SHIN. GG.